Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tinder Biddles of Tinder TV, bringing you a commentary here on the channel today, talking about what Call of Duty needs to do to turn things around, to fix this franchise. I'm going to have this video or this commentary into two different parts. The first part being what they need to do in general. That means not just Black Ops 6, that means going forward with future games as well as Black Ops 6. And then the second part is going to be specific feedback, things that can reasonably be changed during the life cycle of Black Ops 6 to help make this game as good as it can be. So first and foremost, when it comes to what they need to do going forward for the franchise as a whole, is that they need to first of all tone back the matchmaking. The skill-based matchmaking is really becoming such a hot topic in the community. It's been for many years now, and it's at the point where it seems like it's driving players away more than it is bringing them in, which is what the point of it was supposed to be when they implemented it. The biggest problem for me is not being able to play with my in real life friends of varying skill levels and us all being able to have a good fun time without getting frustrated or completely wrecked game after game. The second thing that needs to be done when it comes to the franchise as a whole and what they really need to do to turn this thing around, aside from loosening or getting rid of the skill-based matchmaking in public matches, is they need to get a working, credible anti-cheat. Now, I'm primarily a multiplayer player that also dabbles in zombies a little bit. I don't play Warzone any longer, but I do know that in ranked play, in multiplayer, and in all states of Warzone, the hacking and the cheating is out of control. Ricochet has been advertised to us for the last couple of years as being the anti-cheat that's going to stop this. I remember whenever it was really bad in Verdansk and we got this, we thought things were going to turn around, and they did for a little while. And I also understand that it's always going to be a push and pull when it comes to combating cheating. But this is ridiculous. They haven't done anything. It's only gotten worse over the last year or two. And there's no communication. There's nothing. Aside from banning a few thousand accounts that are going to be right back on within minutes. And this is before we even sit here and talk about the pathetic, frequent chat bans that people are encountering. Though I talk a lot of shit in game chat all the time and never have had a single issue, I can't sit here and disregard the what seems like millions of people that are constantly complaining about chat bans whenever they really didn't say nothing. I know the Call of Duty community, so I know there's a good percentage of those people probably said something that might have been worthy of a ban. But I also know that there's plenty of people that aren't even using mics or aren't even in game chat that are also getting these warnings, that are also getting these chat bans. It's ridiculous. But yet we can't actually combat the actual cheaters. There's people out here playing these games with money on the line. It's insane. The third thing that they need to do for the franchise as a whole, for games going forward, is they need to invest in new servers. Call of Duty Warzone is running on 20 hertz, 20 tick rate servers. Multiplayer is running on 60. Which, yes, that's a little better than Warzone. But most AAA games nowadays are running over 100. If I'm not mistaken, Battlefield runs like a 120. We're sitting here looking at Activision shareholders and these numbers that come out, how they're making more money year after year, games are selling better year after year, and all these other things. Black Ops 6 is one of the best launches they've ever had, blah blah blah. But we can't get any new servers. I'm pretty sure these are the same servers we've been running on for a decade now. It's time to make a change. why we're seeing so many clips of people claiming their skill-based damage in the game. Or just ridiculous gunfights that make no sense. Lag, crashes, inconsistent connections from game to game, player to player, encounter to encounter. I mean, am I wrong to say that it feels like we almost had better, more stable connections back when it was peer-to-peer? So for me, in my opinion at least, going forward, what they need to do is lighten up on the skill-based matchmaking, or just take it back to the old ways where it only protects the bottom of the bottom. Invest in some new servers. Please, God, invest in some new servers. I think that this is one of the biggest ones for me. Because I play public matches mostly in multiplayer. Not to say I don't play ranked. But I like playing with my friends. I like playing in pubs. And I don't get to see a lot of hackers in the regular public matches in multiplayer. The only time I have seen them is when I've gone to ranked. And of course, when I watch streams of other players. So the next thing to talk about are specific things to just Black Ops 6. Let me preface this by saying I actually like Black Ops 6. I think that as an entire package for Call of Duty, this is probably the best year we've had in a while, as I think we have a really good campaign, which we couldn't say last year. We've got great zombies, which we haven't been able to say for several years now. And in my opinion, the best one we've had in probably a decade, since Black Ops 3 at least. Warzone is at least, is kind of a mess right now. But we know that there's updates coming. There's no way they're going to just sit on it like this. And we know that Verdansk is coming. And I believe that multiplayer, though I'm a little bit of a sucker for Modern Warfare 3 last year. I think that that was a fantastic game and one of the best multiplayers we've had in years. But I do think that aside from maybe Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 6 is the best multiplayer we've had in the last 6 years. I will say that. But that's not to say that there's not plenty of problems. Some of which we talked about in the first half of the video with what they can do to going forward. The connections and the servers are still wild in Black Ops 6, even in multiplayer. The skill-based matchmaking is even worse. I can't play this game solo at all. I'm like a 2.8 KD player. When I try to play by myself, it is just, it's more stressful than it is enjoyable, if anything. But then on the flip side, because of the matchmaking, it's also difficult to play with my friends because then I might do well, but they might not. So aside from the anti-cheat, the servers, and the matchmaking, the other things that I would like to see was some feedback for what they could actually do realistically during the life cycle of Black Ops 6. First and foremost, a specific bug that really bothers me. Anytime you go to interact with something on the map, or maybe more specifically, pick up a weapon off the ground, 50-50 chance that your game's going to hitch, it's going to stutter, lag, packet burst, whatever you want to call it, it's going to freeze for a moment. That needs fixed immediately. I shouldn't have to explain that or really get into that. I was doing a challenge trying to pick up weapons off the ground and see if I could get a nuke with them. And I died something like 22 picking up a C9 off the ground. Not fun. The next thing that I would like to see that they could do really easily is streak looping. I don't understand why, if I'm still streaking and I'm still getting kills, why I can't continue to earn my streaks again. I gotta start from scratch. It's not like they already have score towards them. We got it last year in Modern Warfare 3 and it seemed to work out very well, and the player base seemed to receive it and really praise it. So I don't understand why it's not a thing here in a Black Ops game. A game that, in my opinion, if you look at Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4 especially, they had extremely strong streaks, amongst the strongest in the franchise. These streaks here are not that. let us loop them. It's not like they're overpowered. If you're not going to let us loop them, which I think you should, can you at least get a buff to the streaks? Because the strategic bomber is so overpriced and weak. It needs a buff and cheapened, in my opinion. The Helo could use a buff. The Sentry needs a buff. The only streaks, in my opinion, that are really good, that are lethal streaks at least, are the Chopper Gunner and the Dreadnought. Also, could we get player collision removed? I'm tired of my teammates with their fat old wagons standing in the doorway on stakeout when I'm trying to get my shotgun headshot challenges, because, you know, makes sense to get headshots on a shotgun. It's the only reason I play that god-awful map. But teammates standing in doorways and blocking you. I think it was Infinite Warfare got rid of player collision, where it's like they didn't even exist. You could just walk right through them. Can we bring that back? At least, like, if it's not going to go that far, can we at least make it that way that it's not as bad? I also would like to see something permanently added to the game, and that is a mercenary mosh pit playlist. It's already bad enough that you got your skill-based matchmaking, and I understand that the matchmaking, if you're a solo player, is likely going to try to match you with more solo players, but it's not going to do that all the time, if at all. A mercenary mosh pit is something that we used to have in Call of Duty all the time. If you're unfamiliar, is just a playlist where it's solo players only. No parties allowed. It would help to make the solo experience on this game so much better, because as I said earlier, as it is, it's not good. Another thing that needs to be fixed is lately, lobbies have not been filling. Most games that I play are ending up 6-on-4, 6-on-3, 6-on-2, 5-on-2, and it'll be that way for half of the game, and it won't backfill anyone in. I don't know if this has something to do with the not being able to join friends sometimes, or especially whenever they're queuing, but this needs to be taken care of. The spawns are still in an awful place. I understand on some of these maps like Babylon that it's going to be an ongoing issue. It's never going to be perfect, especially in a fast-paced game like this. But it's something that they need to continue to work on here. In my opinion, the melee weapons also are pretty weak. There's like almost no range and no lunge on them. Whoever thought to make some of these 2 hits is ridiculous. I don't understand it. I have seen less melee players this year than I have in the last several years, and that's saying something coming from a slow-paced game like Modern Warfare 2, and then a fast-paced game like Modern Warfare 3, where the melee weapons were good and bad. And then I'd also like to see in Prop Hunt, because I love Prop Hunt. It's always a fun, chill game, a way to break the monotony of the sweat pit of multiplayer. But first and foremost, there's a lot of problems with Prop Hunt. And I do know that recently Treyarch did put something out here after New Year's saying that they were going to have Prop Hunt improvements. I don't know what specifically that means, but I'm hoping that you're going to be able to get closer to the wall with some props, because some of these props you can't actually get them. Like, it's obvious that they're a prop whenever you're sticking half a foot out from the wall. You can't slope on the certain surfaces and actually make it look right. There's small props that are slow, so you can't run with them, but because they're slow or because they're small, they also don't have a lot of health. So it kind of defeats the purpose of them. These maps don't do you any favors being able to hide to begin with. And then you want to sit here and have a whistle that I've got clips galore that I can play. The whistle makes absolutely no sense. I had me and several of my buddies I was playing with standing in the same room, and we all heard the whistle coming from a different direction. We all thought it was coming from a different place. And none of us ended up being right. And it's not like the player was running around and running away from us either. It's just, and I've had experienced this so many times where there's one prop left and me and a friend are on opposite sides of the map and we're both hearing it saying, no, 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 it's over here, it's over here. It should never be that way. I also think that they need to add more party games into this. Gun game needs to be here. It has to be. Sticks and stones would be lovely. One in the chamber, of course. And I'm sure there's plenty more that I haven't thought of yet. I think capture the flag would also play great in here too. One thing I don't think they would do, because I don't think Treyarch has ever really done this if I'm not mistaken, but been missing the past few years, is Specialist. I really love the idea of earning your perks instead of earning your kill streaks, your score streaks, as you go on a streak. You get that feeling of becoming a super soldier, and I think that this game is set up amazing to actually do that. Because if you earn all the streaks in the game, all the perks in the game, for instance, then you can have their specialty as well. Would truly make you a super soldier. It would also bring some variety and more spice and freshen things up with the game. But that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. I really do enjoy Black Ops 6. I just got done taking a break from it, so I'm going to be back on the grind here now that the holidays are over with. And I hope that they do implement some of these things and make this franchise better, because I do love it. If you've made it this far, thank you. And as always, this is Tinder. Have a blessed day.